2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Walk the ball. Chris Taylor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Daniel Starkand from DodgerBlue.com, as well as Justin Lorber, a.k.a. Future Dodgers, with some breaking news. The Dodgers bringing back an old friend, Kiké Hernández, returning to L.A. in a trade with Boston. We don't know yet what the Dodgers have given up as we're doing this live. Hopefully we get some information as time goes on. But, Daniel, I'll start with you. The name is cool, as we'll talk about here in a second. The production offensively and defensively, maybe not so much.
Yeah. The stove is finally hot, fellas. We got some action here. Yeah, like you said, though, Kiké's having a really bad year, so I can't really put my finger on this one. Obviously, we've Andrew Friedman has built up a lot of trust, and there's usually things he sees that most don't. But on the surface, Kiké's been really bad the last 2 years, both defensively and offensively. But I mean, in theory, he feels a need. Like, we know this team needs right-handed bats. He's versatile. Like, he could play all over the field. We all know that. So in theory, it works. We got to see what they're giving up, I guess. But you just got to hope he could get hot for a 2-3 month stretch here. Whatever.
Yeah, Justin, looking into some of these numbers real quick. Among qualified players, Kiké Hernández is last in Major League Baseball in wins above replacement. He's a negative 1.4 wins above replacement player. Among qualified players, he is second to last in weighted runs created plus, which is strictly an offensive metric, at 60. That's 40% below league average. If you want to look at some of the baseball savant numbers, he's in the first percentile for outs above average, the first percentile for expected batting average, the first percentile for expected slugging percentage. Even against lefties, the one thing historically that he's done well, career 118 weighted runs created plus against lefties. He's a 76 weighted runs created plus against lefties guy this year. So, Justin, as you kind of dig into this a little more, and the appeal of, hey, Kiké Hernández, he's a fun guy, he's back with the Dodgers, wears off. Where are you at? Is there hope for the Dodgers turning a guy like Kiké Hernández around, or is this a head scratching move that's not going to make any more sense as time goes on?
I mean, I guess it's hard for him to get worse, at least with respect to some of these numbers. It's a pretty steep drop off in terms of some of the under the hood stuff, exit velocity stuff, even walk rate, like strikeout rate, and the defense is all pretty far down, it seems. It's only 31, so it seems a little bit early for that steep of a decline without some kind of injury related with it. But I don't know. It's hard to look at anything and be like, yeah, like this is where they're going to turn him around or fix him. Obviously, they have an idea of what they want to do with him, but just on the surface, it's not super easy to see.
Yeah, Daniel, defensively, it seems like his best position at this point is outfield. He was an above average defensive player last year, 84th percentile and outs above average, but that was it looks like because he was playing a lot of his spending a lot of his time out in center field. He was a positive player there. Again, historically, he has hit lefties. So, I mean, is that like, as I look through this, I don't see him supplanting a guy like Miguel Rojas. This feels like a temporary fix for a right-handed bat in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been sitting here for weeks saying how, they need to add a right-handed outfield bat just because they got, all lefty platoon type guys there. And I guess that's what they're hoping Kiké will be. They tried it with Jake Marisnick. He lasted like 3 games before he got hurt. So that role is still kind of up in the air. Like you said, Kiké has been playing a lot of short this year. Obviously, the Red Sox lost Bogarts in the offseason. Trevor Story's been hurt, so he's kind of been needed at short. But if you're the Dodgers, like you said, you could play him more in the outfield where I think he's more passable defensively. Like maybe he gets some spot starts at short, maybe some at second. We know how versatile he is, but the defense at shortstop this season has not been pretty. And I think when his bat is essentially the same as Miguel Rojas's has been, you'd rather at least have the better defender at short there. But who knows? Maybe sometimes a change of scenery could do a guy well. He's obviously very familiar with LA. So I think that's just kind of what Andrew Friedman is hoping for, hoping he could have a little renaissance here. It's in the last year of his deal. So it's just, a 2-3 month thing. just hoping he could catch fire and get hot. But yeah, I would imagine that's kind of the role they see him in, as an outfielder, right-handed bat that they could put in the lineup against lefties. But he's going to have to produce more than he has this season if he's, if he wants to crack this lineup.
Yeah, Michael Carrillo says Syndergaard better be traded. If not, this was garbage. The reference here being Kiké Hernández is on a $10 million contract. So it's not like this is a free deal as far as money, as far as we know. So there was some speculation. Hey, the Red Sox need pitching. The Dodgers need Kiké Hernández. Syndergaard and Kiké Hernández have both been awful. Their salaries at this point, it's probably $1 million difference between the two. You open up a 40-man roster spot. Justin, I find it almost impossible to believe this is going to be the Syndergaard for Kiké Hernández type swap. But like from a prospect perspective, I mean, on the prospect side, Kiké Hernández is going to be just taking at bats away from Johnny DeLuca, which seems like a really bad thing to me.
Yeah, and for context, this was just reported by Boston Globe. It looks like the word is it's 2 upper level minor league relievers.
Nick Robertson as a type.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
guy.
I guess if you're clearing a 40-man spot, Robertson,
Brian
might be
Hudson.
a guy. What's up?
I said Brian Hudson is another guy who's kind of like an upper minors reliever that's already on the 40-man.
Yeah, there's a lot of relievers, I think, at AA and AAA who theoretically could be in this deal. Only a couple who I'd be disappointed with being in the deal.
Who are the guys that, as we're talking upper minor relievers, I mean, I would think they'd want to be opening up some 40-man roster spots. Then again, a lot of this depends on the money that would be coming back. Because if the Dodgers are paying Kiké Hernández's salary, they better not be giving up anybody of any value. Now, if Boston is paying 85% of his salary, I could see a couple prospects going back. Are there Nick Robertson seems like he by himself would be too much maybe for Kiké Hernández unless a lot of that money is getting paid down. Who are the guys you're hoping are not in this deal, Justin?
So my top 3 reliever prospects that I'll have in my midseason update are Jake Pilarski, who's AA, Joseph Varland, who's a AAA, and Alec Gamboa, who's a AAA. None of them are 40-man guys. So if it's a clear 40-man spot, none of those guys are in. It did say 2. So I'm not sure if there is an update on that yet. But
I mean, let's just say it's the guys that I mentioned, and we're speculating here. We're doing this live and nothing has come out. But Brian Hudson and Nick Robertson, 2 guys who got a shot. Neither of them look particularly overwhelmingly good. It would open up 2 40-man roster spots, but the Dodgers wouldn't be, quote unquote, getting nothing for them. If the Red Sox were paying 75% of remaining salary and the Dodgers had to send out Hudson and Robertson, Justin, from your perspective, would that be a reasonable deal or would that be an overpay?
Probably not an overpay. But let's put it this way. In terms of production, it's an overpay because Kiké has had, below 0 wins above replacement. He's detracted value, at least, if you're looking at the Fangraphs version. I don't know. You can find a lot of these, up-down reliever guys through the minor league Rule 5 draft, through waivers, minor league signings, just developing guys. And I'm not sure how much more Hudson or Robertson would be than that. I think Robertson probably has a better chance to actually, stick in a major league bullpen.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of those guys out there. Although all 3, for now, this is their first option, or all 2. For now, it's their first option year. So another 2 years of optionability, which with the 5 option rule, it's valuable to have guys that you can trust and keep up and then send back down a few times a season.
Yeah. Daniel, the thing that I'm thinking of as I process this in real time, one of the, I'm going to say downsides to adding a guy like Kiké Hernández is with the trade deadline, what are we, 6 days away at this point? It feels like this is the one bullet that you had in your chamber for a guy who's going to hit lefties in the outfield. Like you can't really give Kiké a chance to prove that he's valuable and also still go get somebody else in the next 5 or 6 days. So that's the part that concerns me. It feels like they're putting all their eggs, I guess, in the Kiké Hernández or Johnny DeLuca basket. And that's going to be the move. Are you thinking the same thing as you process this?
Yeah. And Trace is on his way back too. I know he wasn't exactly having an inspiring season before he got hurt.
Hey,
but
get excited, folks. Trace Thompson, Kiké Hernandez, and Johnny
hey,
DeLuca are coming to
hey,
save
Trace
you.
was the guy they picked up last year in the middle of the season, and everyone questioned it, and that worked out okay. But yeah, honestly, like we've been talking a lot of trade deadline the last few weeks, and we've all kind of been under the impression that they're pretty much set on the position player side, other than that one right-handed platoon outfield type bat. So this could be their only move, unless there's like another blockbuster down the road. I know Nolan Arenado's name has been thrown out there, but I'm not expecting, I'm not expecting that to happen. And I still think Ohtani's not going to happen either. So I think this very well could be their only position player move. We know the focus at the deadline is going to be on pitching. They have a lot to address there. So I don't think they want to use valuable resources on another position player. So yeah, I guess they're putting all the eggs in the Kiké basket, or like you said, one of these other guys, DeLuca. If Trace comes back, Chris Taylor's been playing, better as of late, at least. But yeah, I mean, in theory, Kiké could come in and fill a role as a guy who moves all around, is in the lineup against lefties, could give, a guy a rest at short, a guy a rest in left, a guy a rest in center. But if he's performing at the level he was in Boston this year and even last year as well, you have plenty of other guys who could have done that just as easily.
Yeah. Justin, as I look through this, I mean, last year wasn't very good. I mean, basically you have to go back to 2021. He was about a 780 OPS guy. Last year, 75 weighted runs created plus. This year, 60 weighted runs created plus. He was above average against lefties last season. A 119 weighted runs created plus in 100 plate appearances against lefties. Where are you at? I'm curious, Justin, on Johnny DeLuca as a prospect. I mean, he kind of said, hey, my role is to hit lefties, play defense, and potentially be a pinch runner. As I said, it kind of feels like the Dodgers are now banking on Trace Thompson or Johnny DeLuca or Kiké Hernandez to being somebody that they can trust against lefties in the outfield. Is there a guy in that group of three that if you had to pick one, because it seems like maybe we're at a point where they're going to have to pick one, or do you have any hope for any of those three guys?
I guess Kiké, just because you've seen it before, as recently as last year, has been very good, lefties or righties this year. But throughout his career, that's something he's been able to do. And I don't know what the sample size is this year, but obviously, like they think there's something there, even though it looks like there's nothing. That said, like I think DeLuca is very capable of fulfilling a major league bench role right now. A little curious why he hasn't gotten a chance to do so. He has a little bit, but it seems like there's been a lot of focus on essentially filling his role, which isn't wrong. Like they could use an upgrade, but in terms of just a bench outfielder, like fifth outfielder, pinch runner, I think that's a role that would fit him probably a little bit better than Thompson or Hernandez.
And sorry to jump in. The weird part to me is when they picked up Marisnik last week or whenever it was, they actually optioned DeLuca and kept Yanni Hernandez on the big league roster. So I'll be interested to see now with Kiké, are they going to send DeLuca right back down, or are they going to keep him up and send Yanni down? But to me, it feels like they haven't really built up much trust in DeLuca, and I've kind of liked what I've seen from him. Like, I don't think he's a star by any means, but he's filled his role. He's played good defense. He's got good speed. Could hit lefties a little. So I'd like to see him get a legit chance. But with the moves they've made in the last couple of weeks, it doesn't seem like they're really interested in doing that.
Yeah, we got a couple super comments here. Jonathan says, are we getting Curtis Granderson and Joey Gallo next? Daniel, we got to watch out. Our guy Blake Williams is going to get way too excited about the Joey Gallo reference here.
As long as it's not Josh Reddick, that's my thoughts on that.
I mean, Jake Marisnik is a half step above Josh Reddick, maybe a full step. I'll give him a full step above Josh Reddick. I'll be curious to see how long he sticks around. It does kind of feel like a poo-poo platter of options. And I mean, to your point, like, yesterday, it's Yanni Hernandez in the lineup with Miguel Rojas, and I'm sitting there, and then Miguel Rojas pinch hits late in the game in a big spot, and I'm sitting there, Justin, and I'm like, if Michael Busch was on the Major League roster, it's Yanni Hernandez made an error at third at the beginning of the game. I mean, like, I just don't understand. To Daniel's point, the Dodgers tell you what they think about Johnny DeLuca, about Michael Busch, And I don't understand why they think what they do, because clearly they keep picking Yanni Hernandez over Michael Busch. They keep picking Jake Marisnik, whoever else above Johnny DeLuca. And Justin, as the guy who kind of, you're the prospect guy here. It hurts me. I imagine as the guy who wants to see the young guys play, the way they treat Busch and now maybe the way they're treating DeLuca has to hurt a little bit, right?
Yeah, I had a similar thought seeing Rojas pinch hit against a righty with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 8th. And I know like the matchup there was a little bit weird because Richards has the changeup that stood against lefties. But yeah, I mean, you got to think if like a Michael Busch is on the team, that's probably a spot for him to pinch hit. He's continued to hit at AAA. He hasn't let his lack of a major league chance dissuade him. He's improved pretty much across the board from last year in his second go at AAA. I think in a lot of organizations he would be getting major league at bats. And look, I understand why they don't want to. They might not have a spot to start him full time. They want to let him get every day at bats, and I understand that. I understand that aspect of it. So, it sucks, especially when, that's a spot that maybe someone else would have done something more in, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah, here we go. Fabian Ardaya. We still don't have names, but Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic says 2 AAA relievers going to the Red Sox. So I guess that eliminates some of the guys that you mentioned, Justin, as relievers that you like, because a couple of those guys were at AA, right?
Just Pilarski, and he's on the injured list right now. So I don't do well. I think the minor league injured list they can go. Anyways, yeah, not Pilarski.
You would think this is like a blockbuster deal or something with how long it's taking to get the names of these 2 AAA relievers. Such a mystery.
Yeah, or maybe the people just haven't heard of them. They need to do a little Google search on a couple of these guys. Michael also sent us a disaster class by Friedman. This team is screwed. Daniel, your thoughts?
I mean, this is just the first of probably a few moves. I'm withhold judgment until after the deadline passes. But we're still waiting to see who they gave up. So it's hard to say whether it's a bad move or a good move until you know who they're giving up, honestly.
Yeah, and again, part of this is going to be, is money coming back with Kiké Hernandez? Are the Dodgers paying the entire amount of his salary, or is he a free player, aside from the cost of the 2 AAA relievers that are going the other way? Randy chimes in, this move didn't do anything. This is kind of where I land, Justin, is, we're at the 19-minute mark of talking about this and still don't know all the details. I like the name Kiké. I like to believe that there's some hope that the Dodgers can unlock a couple of things and he can be a productive guy against lefties. Obviously, he's been in big moments. He's had big hits. He's not going to be afraid of that. He's a good clubhouse guy. We know all of that. I joked that maybe they can trade for Kiké and DFA Austin Barnes at the same time, just to kind of, it'll be a neutral to the clubhouse. Any low people that are pissed about the Barnes thing could be happy about Kiké. I'm not saying that's going to happen, for the record. But I mean, this feels very If anything, I'm not happy about this move. I think, Justin, the more I think about it, as we kind of wrap up here, what are your final thoughts? Like, are you like, because I'll land in a place of, I'm kind of bummed that this is going to take at-bats away from Johnny DeLuca. I'm not like that bummed, because I think Kiké has some upside of being a guy that could be productive, and he's been in big spots and they're familiar with him, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is like, if this is if we're giving this a positive, a negative, or a neutral, it's like a negative 0.1 or something. To me, it's slightly negative, but it's definitely not positive.
Yeah, it's kind of, I kind of just shrugged my shoulders, and I mean, I'll wait to see who the 2 relievers are that they give up for Hernandez. But yeah, good vibes. Maybe he hits lefties. Ideally, he hits lefties. If they can find a way to improve their offensive production at shortstop when Mookie Betts is not playing there, that would be great. So to the extent he can do that, fantastic.
Yeah. Daniel, what are your final thoughts on this as we kind of wrap up this live show?
I'm pretty neutral. I think if I think if Kiké comes up with a couple big postseason hits, he comes up in a pinch hit situation against a lefty reliever and comes through, as we've seen him do in the past, then it's worth it, obviously. But if he the rest of the season has an OPS that starts with a 5 and doesn't do much in the postseason, then obviously, yeah, it's not a great move because of, like you said, You'd rather have a guy like Johnny DeLuca getting those at bats just to see what you have in him. Like, I still truly don't really know what Johnny DeLuca is going to be. Like, is he going to be a 4A type player? Is he capable of being a major league bench bat? Can he be a platoon guy? Like, we don't have answers to any of those yet, just because he hasn't gotten enough opportunities. So I'm with you. It's not a move I would have made, but I still think it has the potential to work out.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know if this is Matt or Blake that's commenting here. Everyone's going to love the trade once Kiké does the Freddie Freeman dance. There's a lot of. Do we think Kiké Hernández? How many doubles does he have on the season? This is you got to get to second base before you get to do the dance.
He'll do it. He'll do it from the dugout when other guys hit doubles.
There you go. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, look, if at the end of if we wake up tomorrow and Yanni Hernández is gone and Kiké Hernández is in his place, I'll be happy. Like that feels like an upgrade to me. If we wake up tomorrow and Yanni Hernández is still on the major league roster and Johnny DeLuca is optioned, that's going to be a problem. Because I'm just telling both of you, the day that we get Miguel Rojas, Kiké Hernández, and Austin Barnes all in the lineup in the same day is not going to be a day you'll find me watching the Dodgers. I'll put it that way. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for us. Unfortunately, we don't have names yet, but again, I think the headline here is Kiké Hernández is coming. I doubt that these two names will be anybody that makes you sit back in your seat and say, "Oh my gosh, the Dodgers gave up this guy." I think Nick Robertson or Brian Hudson would probably be the most familiar names if one or both of those guys are the ones being sent out. But again, Hernández coming to the Dodgers, presumably not available tonight, but maybe available tomorrow to make his Dodgers debut. And we'll see if Robert Von Scoya can work his magic and fix anything. And if the Dodgers have any other moves left in the left, we've got 6 days left. So this is just the appetizer. You're sitting at a dinner table and somebody orders, maybe you're at Chili's or something, and somebody orders some weird like mozzarella sticks. It's like, okay, fine. Like they're solid mozzarella sticks, but when does the real course come? I don't know. It's Chili's. Did I lose people on the reference? I don't know. I love Chili's. So
I've heard Chili's has good mozzarella sticks. Actually, someone just mentioned that to me last night randomly.
Apologies. I'm not in. I love mozzarella. I can't think of a bad appetizer. There's not really an appetizer that I could have said out loud there where I would have been like, yeah, it's fine. I'm a big appetizer guy. So this is an appetizer, folks. That's the bottom line. So don't get too worked up about it just being Kiké Hernández. If this is the only move they do, and the three of us are on here a week from now, and it's like, hey, so the Dodgers acquired Kiké Hernández, and he's 0 for 9, and he's made 2 errors at shortstop, then I think you have every right to be pissed off and be negative. But let's just give Andrew Friedman the benefit of the doubt here for 6 more days in our first place Dodgers.
We have names.
Here we go.
We want to keep this going.
Hit us with it. Let's talk.
This is Chris Cotillo, who's the beat writer for Mass Live. Says the 2 names. Oh, okay. I'll correct. 2 names he's hearing as possibilities. Got ahead of myself. Are Nick Robertson and Justin Hageman. So that doesn't sound like confirmed 2 names. The phrasing there is a little less certain. But it is
one of the guys you said you like.
Oh, here we go. Passon just tweeted it.
All right. So is it those 2, Robertson and Hageman?
Yep. Those are the 2.
Okay. So Robertson we're familiar with. This is a guy who made it up to the major leagues this year. And I think some people were excited about him. He wasn't awesome at the major league level. Justin, it seems like Robertson. Well, I'll just start here. Which of those 2 guys is a bigger loss for the Dodgers? Is it Robertson or Hageman?
Robertson. Ceiling's higher, bigger velocity. Hageman was a day 3 pick a few years ago who's performed pretty well throughout his minor league career. Not hard stuff, but a little bit of fun, sinker slider guy. He's been stretched out over the last month and a half, even starting a couple games, not going like 5 or 6, but I think he's gone up to 4 innings now, which makes him, a little more attractive. Not a lot of relievers you see now that don't have, at least like 94, 95, or at least can touch it. So Hageman's more of a low 90s guy. If he's kind of in that in-between role, long reliever, I think that'd be a decent fit, but not on the 40-man. And Robertson, he's a bigger loss. I had him just after that group of first 3 relievers that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, you can find relievers, in all likelihood, probably an up and down guy for a few years, and relievers aren't super hard to find.
Yeah. Hageman, 25 appearances, an ERA under 3, just over a strikeout per inning at AAA. 26-year-old at AAA, so that kind of tells you a lot there. Daniel, you and I aren't experts on either of these guys. Obviously, we saw Robertson 10 1/3. I would be surprised if there's not money coming with the Red Sox as part of this deal. I can't imagine the Dodgers would give up a guy like Robertson and something else, even if it's a AAA guy who probably didn't have is maybe at best a quad A guy. It doesn't feel like that would happen if the Dodgers were also taking on, $4.5 million of Kiké Hernández salary from here on out. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, this honestly looks like a pretty good deal for the Red Sox. Like, you take a guy whose contract is expiring and he's quite literally been the worst player in baseball this year, and you turn him into 2 AAA relievers, one guy who's got some big league experience. I don't know much about these guys, but like you said, what's Kiké was a $10 million deal, so prorated, he's probably got like $4 million left. Maybe the Red Sox, pick up half of that or something. So it's not huge money wise, but yeah, I think giving up two guys who are at the AAA level near the major league level, you got to be pretty happy if you're the Red Sox, and at the same time, if you're the Dodgers, I don't think they're huge losses by any means. I would have preferred to keep Robertson just because he's a guy who has some big league experience, and like Justin said, there is some upside there. He throws pretty hard, got some decent stuff at least. But I don't think that's something you're going to look back 5 years from now and regret it because he turns into like an all-star closer by any means. So I think it's fine. I still think the farm system is absolutely loaded to go and make more deals. So I think that's the main thing to me.
Yeah, Justin, I'll let you have the last word here, as you've had now 90 seconds to process Robertson and Hageman as the 2 guys that are going out. Assuming let's say Daniel's right and the Red Sox are sending $2.5 million with Kiké Hernández, so the Dodgers are paying $2 million for Kiké the rest of the way and giving up those 2 relievers. Robertson obviously opens up a 40-man roster spot, which has to be mentioned because with the Dodgers, that's a big deal. They needed to send somebody off of the 40-man roster in order to make this deal happen. Where are you at? Now that we have names, like, is this a thumbs up trade, a thumbs sideways trade, a thumbs down trade? What's your final word here?
It's fine. So like probably a couple other guys I would have rather traded than Robertson. And like we're talking about like guys, at AAA on the 40-man, near the 40-man. Hageman, I think probably tough to find, a way that he gets on the roster in meaningful fashion just because of the number of upper level arms that they have right now at AAA, mostly starters, but a couple relievers too. So it's fine.
Yeah. Daniel, any last thoughts? Lots of people in the comments not happy about this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is something that's going to come back to hurt you. So I'm in agreement with Justin. It's fine.
Awesome. Well, that's Daniel. That's Justin. My name is Jeff. As always, we appreciate you guys joining us. The breaking news here, Kiké Hernández acquired from the Red Sox. Be sure to check us out here, Dodger Blue 1958. Subscribe, ring the notification bell if you're new, because we will be breaking down all the moves that the Dodgers make in the next 6 days. We'll have a live show on trade deadline day. These 2 guys might be with me for it, so stay tuned for that. We'll also be live tonight, post-game, Scott Gierman and I as well. So Justin, Daniel, my name is Jeff. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, go Dodgers.